All right. Are we live? So my name is Sarah, and I'm here today with Rachel and Maggie, two of our wonderful Parkland dietitians. And we're here to talk about holiday meal planning when you have diabetes. So
it's a
shall
great
we
topic.
start?
Yes, let's do it.
So the first question, and if you have questions as we go along, feel free to let us know what they are. So we can have some questions on the spot as well.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
So,
Are there any ways to make traditional holiday foods healthier?
What do you think?
you can always recreate any recipe and make it healthier, whether you change the fat source from an saturated fat to an unsaturated, or if you just switch the butter to olive oil, you can make easy switches with your fat source, cutting down the sugar, switching to a sugar-free sweetener, or the baking method to reduce the overall calories.
That's a great idea. Another good idea is using egg whites instead of whole eggs, depending on what you're trying to do. So if we're just looking at carbohydrates, you could always reduce your portion size. That's always a good idea if someone else is making it. I know, it's very sad.
But this is the holidays we're talking about.
Right? But a lot of recipes you really can cut the sugar by half, and you cannot even tell a difference at all. Especially if you're baking, using a little more vanilla and a little less sugar. The vanilla actually intensifies the sweet flavor, so you're not going to miss out on the sugar.
And they also make baking sweeteners that are half sugar, half sweet. So it's kind of a good combination to cut down your sugar.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
yes.
That's a great idea.
Okay.
Great job.
Thanks.
So the next question is, should I skip a meal or two before the big holiday meal?
Definitely not. I don't think you should skip meals. Skipping meals is never a good idea, especially when you have diabetes. Just because our bodies are dependent on sugar, and we need to give it consistent meals throughout the day. If you skip meals, you're likely to have higher blood sugar before your meal, but you're also more likely to be really hungry. And whenever you're super hungry going into a big holiday meal where there's a lot of rich foods and maybe dressings and pies and all kinds of things that you really want to eat, you're more likely to overeat a lot of those things instead of really enjoying what you're eating.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing to go off of that is make sure your breakfast is healthy when you know you're going to be having a larger lunch or dinner. So just kind of focus on the outside meals from that holiday meal, making sure those are on point.
Right. And I think just kind of what y'all mentioned, especially when you're taking diabetes medications, you're at a higher risk of a low blood sugar if you don't eat.
Exactly.
So making sure that you're eating kind of normal.
Yeah, it's important to eat consistently for sure.
All right, so it's the end of the year, and I'm having diabetes burnout. How do I stay motivated?
That's so common. Diabetes burnout is totally common because you're so tired of checking your blood sugar. You're so tired of writing it in the log. You're tired of thinking about it and all of that. It takes a lot of effort to really manage diabetes well. But just because you're tired of it, it doesn't mean that you don't still have the problem. So it's really important to keep being consistent with measuring your blood sugar, eating well and consistently, and making sure your meals are healthy and balanced. Don't give up. It's so important that you keep going because think about the fact that if you do get lax, think about all the different things that could be happening in your body. Just because you don't feel something doesn't mean it's not happening.
Yeah, and also finding ways to stay motivated, whether it's learning how to bake different recipes that are lower in sugar, whether it's increasing how much you're exercising with walking or running, or just find new ways to set new goals for yourself so you can stay motivated and push yourself to get through the holidays and continue having goals in mind and not waiting until January 1st.
So don't take a holiday from the holiday.
I mean, just because it's a holiday doesn't mean we get all the time off.
And this kind of goes into the point you were talking about earlier, Maggie, but should I use artificial sweeteners to sweeten holiday desserts instead of sugar?
I would say so, yeah, because then you're going to reduce how much sugar you're eating. So for diabetics, we recommend using sugar-free sweeteners instead of sugar. So if you are making a dessert, if you make it sugar-free, you know that one's okay for you to eat, opposed to if you go to a holiday and everyone else brought the desserts, and they're all going to be loaded with sugar.
Right.
So it really just kind of provides you with a safety net, so you know there's something safe for you to have.
Definitely. That's always a good point about bringing something that you know you can eat. Bringing something that's healthy so that you know that there's at least a couple of options that you feel safe eating, and if you're still hungry, going to those things. And especially when we're talking about sugar-free or sugar replacers, in recipes like cranberry sauce and things like that, you can always use sugar replacers there too. It doesn't have to be just a dessert.
And I think also just remember that in the dessert, there's carbs that are not sugar.
Exactly.
So you have to also think about it's a carb consistent meal, not just.
So if you were eating,
So even if it's a sweetener that you're using,
if you're eating like chocolate cream pie and you use Splenda to make it but then
you
it's
can't
based
eat the
in
whole
milk.
pie.
Right. I'm sorry to say, but it's based in milk, and the milk has carbs, and then the pie crust has carbs. So we definitely still want to think about those things. But using the sugar replacer is going to be so much better.
Right.
And a quick spin off from that, sugar-free does not mean carbohydrate-free.
Exactly.
So that's always kind of like, oh, it's sugar-free, it's okay for me to have.
Right.
Just because it's sugar-free doesn't mean there's not going to be a lot of carbohydrates in that as well.
And calories. Yeah, sad day.
So if I'm on insulin, can I still have holiday alcoholic beverages?
That's a good question. Yeah, within moderation, definitely. Just make sure you follow
What
your
is moderation?
I would say 1 to 2 drinks at a party within a couple of hours would be reasonable. Don't go crazy and just drink all night long. But if you pay
carbohydrates, your blood sugar is going to get really low. So if you are, drinking some sort of holiday martini and eating peanuts and nuts with it, you could become hypoglycemic because you're not having carbohydrates. So just making sure you are still having carbohydrates when you are drinking alcohol.
Right. So yeah, especially on insulin, you have to watch for that.
Yes.
Should I go on a detox after eating holiday meals?
I love that word, detox. It makes me happy. Not really.
Detox can only really last for like an hour to maybe like a day or two.
Right? So your kidneys and liver detox you, right? They do detox all those things out of your body, but really, we don't need a detox. Maybe, I guess that one of my main principles is that the holidays are great if you limit it to 1 or 2 meals. Now, if you have all the leftovers in the world in your house and you just keep eating the holiday food for months, then that's a problem. We need to detox our house at that point from all that stuff. But detoxing our body, just go back to your regular healthy eating, and I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think changing detox to just your
Reset?
healthy, like a reset. So yeah, it's okay to reset before the holiday and reset after, but I wouldn't use the word detox. But maybe just getting back on track. So if you just finished Thanksgiving, you overate on all the food. Instead of keeping all those leftovers, give them away to family and friends.
Yeah.
So you're not going
Coworkers.
to be continuously eating.
Yes. Yay. That's rude.
Okay, let's talk about exercise for a little bit. So is it dangerous to exercise after a holiday meal? And will this impact my blood sugar?
No, I would say it's not dangerous at all. It's actually be good for you. So going on a 30-minute walk after your big meal can actually help with blood sugar control. So I would recommend, after your holiday meal, take your family on a walk around the block. My family actually does that, and it just helps me feel a little bit better and not like a potato sitting on my couch. But yes, I'd say exercise and definitely walking a little bit after your big meal can be helpful.
One good tip I always like to give is setting new holiday traditions with your family. So if you're a family who sits and watches the football game every year after you eat, maybe before your meal, go out and play a little football in the yard, or have a friendly family game outside where everyone gets to know each other. But being a little bit active is always a good idea. Obviously, exercise brings down your blood sugar, so you want to be careful and note your symptoms. But definitely creating those memories with family while being active and setting a good example for the kids in your family is a great idea.
Yeah. Or even setting, your own personal Thanksgiving or Christmas Day routine where maybe you do like a fun little turkey trot on your own.
That's a good
You don't
idea.
have to sign up for a race to run. So going on a 1 to 3 mile run the morning of Thanksgiving and just making that your own habit, your own tradition can set up healthy, habits going through the rest of the day and the rest of the week.
And whenever you exercise early in the day, you're a lot less likely to go off the rails during the day because you already put in that work. So, you're thinking, okay, I burned those calories or I did that work. I don't want to just eat the whole pie. Maybe just one slice of pie. I know, it's sad. We're not in good places, okay, though. Have some pie.
So, but with blood sugar control, especially, making sure that you eat your breakfast and lunch if you're doing it before the meal.
Right.
After the meal, more than likely your blood sugar is going to be high anyway. So it's okay to go ahead and exercise.
It's a good idea.
After the meal, we definitely recommend it. Before the meal, make sure that you aren't skipping meals
Exactly.
prior to the large meal. This is a good question. You ready?
Are you ready? Yes, you are.
Bring it.
I get really stressed out about holiday meals and managing my diabetes. How can I combat this?
Stress is annoying, right? Because it raises your blood sugar. So it's like, gives you the catch-22 of I'm stressed, and now I'm more stressed because my blood sugar is high. So there are a lot of really good self-care techniques that you can do. Taking some time for yourself. I know in the South, we tend to go crazy and cooking all of this food and doing all of these things for our families and actually neglecting our own self because we don't take time to kind of reflect and be thankful, right? It's Thanksgiving. Reflect and be thankful for all the things in our lives. Breathing techniques are also a good idea. You know, making sure that you're listening to your breath and maybe breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, out for 4 seconds. It kind of helps kind of regulate all of that fast heartbeat, stress, freak out hormone.
Yeah, and if you are stressed about the food and your blood sugars, really focusing on the people and the conversation. Really, that holidays, they are surrounded by food, and there's a big connotation about food, but really it's about your friends and family and creating memories together. So trying to just get that mental shift and focusing on, okay, today is about being with family and friends. It's not necessarily about eating. So I think it's just
That's
more
such a
of
hard shift for people.
It's
It
really
is difficult.
Yeah, but it's an important shift.
It's
I think.
so important.
Yeah.
Because that actually will change a lot of things about your life, not just
Right.
on the holidays, right? So it will change. I mean, think about the different things that we do with families, and we always focus around food. Instead of focusing on that burger or that pie or whatever, focusing on, I'm really spending time with you and getting to connect with you and know you better. That's so much more important than having a piece of pie, right?
And I think that also helps, like, I know a lot of people get stressed out just preparing the meal and preparing and making sure everyone, so if you think of it more as a family function of everyone can pitch in and we're doing this together,
Delegate
versus
instead of trying
one
to control.
person,
Exactly.
then it's going to help you with the stress on that as well.
Ask your family to help you. If you're the only person doing things, give them a list. Ask them to sign up to bring things, and then that way you're only doing a certain part, not everything.
Right.
Then it gets them involved too and makes them happy, I'm sure. Hopefully.
Maybe. In theory, right? I didn't, you know, this is kind of a personal one for me.
Oh no.
Pies and sweets are my favorite part of the holiday season.
I mean,
Do I have to give these up completely now that I have diabetes?
No.
Oh my gosh, no.
I feel like you can never hear your dietitian say this enough, but it's everything in moderation. So no, you don't have to give up sweets, but it's just not going to be a part of your every single day life in a large serving. So whether it's you're at a holiday party and there's apple pie, pecan pie, pumpkin pie, maybe you get a small slice of each, or you get one piece of one of them, opposed to having one piece of every single one.
Exactly. We would never say give up something completely just because that's something that you probably won't be able to stick with, right? So especially people who really love food during the holidays, just having that taste instead of having, like you said, having a small piece instead of having an entire piece of pie or 2 or 3 or 4 pieces of pie. Stop and see, okay, how do I feel right now? I ate a small piece of 3 pieces, so it's like 1 piece, right? So how do I feel right now? I feel good. I'm happy. I'm satisfied, and stopping there instead of keeping going.
Yeah. And if you tell yourself, you know, I can only have pie on Thanksgiving, this is the only time I'm never allowed to have pie, and if you have leftovers of that pie, I guarantee you're going to finish the whole thing, and you're going to feel so much worse than if you just had a small amount more frequently.
Send the leftovers home with your family or your friends, or you know what? Donate it to someone or throw it away, because having it in your house for days and days is just, it's not a good idea.
Or keeping 1 slice.
I mean, 1 slice, okay.
You can keep 1 slice.
We can agree.
You don't have to give everything away.
Okay.
But I think
we'll
also
have our address in the video so you can send all the pies.
Yes,
Will you send it? That would be great.
Yes,
yeah,
that'd be good.
That would be fantastic.
But I think that
We go back. Don't do that. I don't want that.
Yeah, please don't do that. We don't want it.
but the sweets as well, you have to remember it is a carb, just like a lot of our favorite Thanksgiving meals, like our dressing and our potatoes and our corn and things like that. So if you have a lot of carbs with your meal, it might be a better idea to wait a few hours to have your pie so it's not all at once.
I think that's a good idea anyway, because you're eating a whole entire meal and you're so full, right? So you're not going to really get to enjoy the pie because you're so full after the meal. So give it some time. Watch the football game, go for a walk, play some football in the yard, whatever, and then come back and have dessert.
With your coffee, maybe?
That's a great plan.
So something my family actually does is we have our Thanksgiving meal, we go on our big walk, and then we have dessert. So it kind of breaks up, so you're not, you know, filling up a stomach that's already completely full. You're getting those blood sugars moving, you're walking around, so it just kind of establishes a healthier routine.
Exactly.
Instead of eating it all at once. So where do holiday beverages such as eggnog, hot chocolate, etc. fit into the diet during the holidays?
That's a good question.
I'd say trying to make a lower sugar, diabetic diet version, because those are so heavy in calories. Regardless if you have any medical conditions at all, they're not really the best choice because they are so high in fat, so high in calories. It doesn't mean that they're not okay to have, one glass of it, but for anyone, would it be a good idea to make it using low-fat, non-fat milk, some sort of sugar-free version, just to cut down the calories and still get the taste.
Right. A glass of eggnog can have like 400 calories in one glass and about 30 grams of fat. It's so small. The glass is like that big for real. And it's very sad because most people have a glass that big, which means their one glass has 1,200 calories. So that can really derail you. I mean, who wants to eat half their day's calories or almost a whole day's calories in a glass of eggnog?
And then liquids don't even keep you full for very
Exactly.
long. So regardless if you
They're
had
gonna spike
1,000
your
calories,
sugar.
you're still going to eat 1,000 calories of
It's just
solid
sad.
foods.
It's very sad, and when you use the lower calorie milk and the sugar replacer, you can always use a few more spices like cinnamon or nutmeg to make the flavor, still be there. We could probably find a recipe and put it on our blog.
Sure.
Let's do that. And maybe an eggnog and a hot chocolate recipe. If you want other recipes, let us know. We'll put it on.
Good idea.
Oh, thanks.
All right, so this is the last question. My family does not like to follow my diabetes meal plan. How can I follow my diabetes meal plan and still be able to eat with my family?
I think choosing, at the meals, choosing which carbohydrates you want. So choosing, 1 to 2 servings are based on what your meal pattern would be. And you sticking with those servings. If your family wants to eat more, they want to eat other ones, that's okay if they do. Not everyone has to eat exactly how you eat. It just, when you are around people who are not following the same type of diet, it makes you easier to fall into certain, what word am I looking for? Pitfalls.
Yeah, problems, issues. But family support is so important, and if you are watching and you're a family member of someone who has diabetes, definitely support them and help them. Don't be eating a Snickers in front of them. Don't be, doing things, that they really love to eat and don't really eat right now. That really just is very counterintuitive, not helpful at all. But if you are the person who has diabetes and doesn't have very much family support, you know that you have control over your own choices, and you don't have to control other people's choices. Unfortunately, sometimes people choose to not support us, and that's their choice. But like Maggie said, choose the things you want, and then make sure that you follow portion sizes, because portion sizes are really the biggest thing. So if you have a plate, if you start with a plate that's, about this big.
Did you say a plate?
Oh my gosh, Maggie is way too prepared, okay? Oh my gosh. Yes, a plate just like that. And then fill up about 1/4 of your plate with protein, and pick your carbs, just like Maggie said. So maybe some dressing or some corn, something like that. But that is super important. And also, if you have some vegetables that are not starchy, like broccoli or cauliflower or carrots or something like that, that would be a great thing to fill your plate up with too, because those will help you stay full and will still be delicious. Also, sweet potatoes, totally a carb, especially when they have brown sugar and marshmallows on top of them. It's more like a dessert actually, but it's really important. Just get 1 spoonful or about 1/2 cup, and try not to overload on any one specific food.
And if you finish that plate and you're still hungry, add more of those non-starchy vegetables, your spinach, salad, or add more protein of your lean proteins like turkey, the chicken breast with the skin off, chicken, fish, things like that. So if you do go back for seconds, load up on the non-starchy vegetables and the proteins before you go for the carbs.
Right.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. And
Look out for our blog. It'll be coming out soon on our
Yes.
website.
happy holidays.
Merry Christmas. Happy Thanksgiving.